So I think that's recording now. It says it's recording.
Yep. Yo.
Yo. Hey, so just wanted to welcome Leivaha Pulu to our video session tonight. We wanted to record and set up a meeting or set up a video for all our followers and youth and players and just the rugby league community. So I wanted to first of all, thank you, Leivaha, for jumping online with us and giving us your time tonight. Vaha is a current NRL player at the Gold Coast Titans, for those of you guys that don't know him, but know of him. But he's had a wonderful journey and a really sort of heartwarming sort of journey that we've been a part of, and we just really wanted to share that to the world. And if we can help someone, by putting this video out, great. And I know Vaha's keen to put his words forward. So thanks again, Vaha.
Hey everyone, how are you all?
So tonight, Vaha, I just wanted to talk. We had some key points that I wanted to talk about, but a lot of the youth, or a lot of our youth, especially down here in New Zealand, are going through various struggles, and some of my live posts and some of our posts that we've put out, we've discussed the challenges that are on youth within the game, and things that have sort of popped up and created some issues for youth. So I wanted to talk to you tonight about rejection. It's something that's a big part of the game at the moment and affects our youth in many different ways. And I think a really important message for our youth is to let them know that others have been through it and have made it to the top. And I think if we can help them in some way, that would be great. So if we talk about rejection, how did you deal with that through the early parts of your career, and then how's that changed to now?
Yeah, no, man, I've played a big part of rejection, man. It's a pretty heavy word, eh? I remember, coming through the 20s and that, especially being a Polynesian, I wouldn't get picked for a team 1 week. You know what I mean? I'll go out and have a sook about it. I'll complain to everyone else for not nipping it on the bud and rectifying it. And then I used to go out and I used to turn to alcohol. I thought that alcohol could solve everything. Didn't really do much for myself. It just made things worse. To what I am today, it's it's different because with rejection now, I don't look at it as rejection. I look at it as somewhere else for me to improve on. Like there was last year there was a point in the period where I was going real well, for the first part of the year, and then I got dropped for the last two games. I think the last two games actually. And then, I looked at that as a challenge, so I attacked it, and I went up to the coaching staff, and as Polynesians, we usually go into our shell and that, but I think that's something that we need to break as our people. We need to get out there and voice our opinions and speak out for ourselves because because people are not mind readers. They can't read your mind. So it's for us as Polynesians, we need to go out there and speak our mind and just ask the coaching staff, where do you need to improve on, and just attack the problems where you can.
Yeah, do you think it's probably widely known out there or spoken about that Polynesian, especially in the youth, Polynesian boys, they tend to hold back and be a little bit too humble, around this area and not wanting to approach authority? Is that something that you would agree with?
Man, it's a touchy subject because the cultural side as well, and as we grow up in that, we learn to be humble and that, but sometimes it can get us into vulnerability where people will look at us and they walk all over us. So as I said before, we just need to kind of speak our mind and just stand up for ourselves because sometimes it can go a bit too far. But in saying that, I believe that you just need to voice your opinion, and then there's a time and a place where you have to voice it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time and place are really important, eh? So in terms of the 20s environment now, because I think there's been a lot of media and a lot of discussion around the pros and cons of 20s, but you were probably part of the inaugural sort of 20s environment. How did you find it coming through?
Yeah, it was at the time it was tough, because I just had my first child, and all the pressure just fell on my shoulders, and I thought I had to make it, like you get to the state of mind where, if you don't make it, then, you have to go and work. But the thing then, I didn't believe in myself. I just waited, and I had to kind of rely on luck, but it's a lot of pressure in 20s, there's, you're coming straight out of school, and then, you're following the NRL boys, and you're doing what they're doing, you know what I mean? But the thing is that, like we just got to kind of step away from it and kind of concentrate on ourselves, on bettering ourselves a bit more, because we get complacent, and I see that around heaps with some of the younger 20 boys. They get complacent in what they do, and that it's because they're wearing the NRL colours. They think that they made it. You haven't made it, man. And they say now, if you've played 100 NRL games, you can call yourself an NRL player. Just to play the one, and it's a privilege. It's the best to have. To play one NRL games, but for yourself to call yourself a NRL player, you got to kind of play that 100 and consistent 100 NRL games. Yeah,
it's a good point actually. There's a lot of that going on, I think, now, where the 20s has sort of been a bit of a ledge, as I've spoken about before, where they come off that period and they haven't done enough to kick on to that next NRL level. And a lot of it has been, like what you say, complacency and just not putting in that effort, around some of that work. So during the 20s, or when you were in the 20s environment, did you think that you were mentally prepared when you went in there? Like, were you prepared for what was to come?
Physically, I thought I was prepared, but mentally I wasn't. I still had I wasn't challenging myself, as what I am today. I thought that just getting by, because I thought just getting by would get me there. But there's times where you have to take that take that another step, because in NRL, everything happens when you're under fatigue and that, and you just need to learn to kind of just take another step and not be complacent.
And tell me about the difference between the under 20s game and the physical mental pressures around the under 20s compared to the NRL. So what can the guys expect that's different? Are we talking night and day, or is it similar, or what's the main difference?
It's there's a lot of pressure as well, because you come out of school and then you get media attention, and sometimes it comes to your head, and I believe you just got to know where you're from and where it all started, and bring yourself back to earth, and realize that you haven't made it yet, but in saying that it's pretty demanding in 20s, because you have to work, or you have to either study, and then you got to come and train, and for NRL we do this as a living, but that's why you train that hard, so you could do that for a living in that. But I give it out to all the 20 boys, these days, just keep pushing through. You got to weather the storm. It's going to be tough, but once you weather the storm, things will change. Things won't always be on a downside. The tide will change. So
yeah. And thinking of that scenario as well, like, so you come through 20s and a lot of the boys think they haven't made NRL by the time they get out of 20s, so they become too old. A lot of the boys just give up. So they didn't hear from the club in terms of where they were at. They didn't understand where they were missing. What's your biggest advice to those sorts of guys that are good enough to play NRL, or have a good amount of ability to play NRL, but just didn't quite make it within the years of being 20 years old?
Yeah, man, like you know, I believe that talent can take you, you know, to a certain point, but hard work, you know, like will take you somewhere. You know, I remember in 2009, you know, we had a we had you know, a team full of NRL players, and you know, the coaching staff come into us into our room and said, man, only 5% of you will play NRL. And in that room, you know, there was about 27 or 30 blokes, and there were the likes of Andrew Fafita, Aaron Woods, Simon Dwyer, you know, there was like Ben Murdoch. You know, I could name the whole, you know, 2009 you know, 20s team that played NRL. And then, you know, at the time I thought, oh man, shucks, you know, they're 5%, you know, they're all playing NRL. So where does that leave me? But I kind of had to like break their thinking, you know, that, you know, they kind of break their thinking in their cycle where, oh look, you know, there's that 5%. I'm going to try and, you know, make my way, force my way somehow, you know what I mean? And just work hard, just keep working, and won't take no for an answer, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, I just had to just keep working and working and kind of show my hunger and motivation. You know, I just, you know, for the young fellas out there, you know, who are working and finding it tough, man. You know, if you really love it, then nothing would be an excuse to really make it. You know what I mean? If you really love it, you know, they say drinking and clubbing and that is a sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice. If you really love it, that you're willing to give up all that stuff to follow your dreams. And man, I'm telling you that it's the best. You know, it's the best. You know, we get a lot of things that's, you know, given to us. You know, and we're pretty lucky. You know what I mean? And you know, there's a lot of people saying, oh man, he's a lucky, and that. And you know, I believe that we're blessed. You know, we get to, you know, wake up every day. You know, we get to, you know, go to the, you know, we get to go to the gym. We get to, you know, work out. We get to, you know, look after our bodies. We get physios. We get massages. We get, you know, we get, you know, bus rides. We get, you know, plane trips. We get fed. You know, we get a lot of things that we'll struggle to get, and yet we get it because we put in the time and sacrificed a lot. Not like, you know what I mean, we just gave up the things that wasn't going to benefit us in our lifetime, and yeah, it's paid dividends for today.
Yeah, it's important. I think the other thing that I'm, you know, forever talking about or explaining to people, and it'd be interesting for everyone to hear tonight, the Wyong period. You know, I had a fair bit to do with in the backgrounds of that process, and hearing about you driving to Wyong from Mount Druitt and all that kind of stuff. Can you just, for those followers or those youth out there that are finding it tough catching a bus here and there, can you sort of run through your week at Wyong?
Yeah, so you know what I mean. So we'd play on a Sunday, and then you know, so Wyong wasn't just down the road. It was about maybe an hour out of Sydney, and there was a couple of us boys. But at the time, you know, I was hungry, I was motivated, and I thought, man, nothing's going to stop me. So, you know, so I'd have to, you know, sacrifice working, you know, and I was lucky enough that I had a good support team with, you know, with my wife now and their kids and that, you know, and they used to support me in everything that I'd done. So, you know, we used to live off like the Centrelink and you know, and Lena's mum used to help us out, you know, with the house, and you know, I had a lot of people that helped me out on the way in there. But the thing is that I had to leave. So I had no license at the time. I had to walk to the train station at 1:30, catch a train, and it was about a 2-hour train ride, and then catch another bus. So it was about a half an hour bus ride, and then I'll just make it on time for weight sessions. And for me, it was compulsory. It was optional for me to turn up to weights training. But I knew that if I didn't turn up to training, to the weight training, then, you know, I might as well not be here. So, you know, these are the little things that I kind of, you know, had to like install in my mind that, you know, I have to make it up for everything, you know. So that's just the one way. So that was about 2.5 hours one way to Wyong, and then we'll do a session, and then after the session, I'll have to do the same thing on the way back. And, you know, I wouldn't get home till about 12 o'clock.
Wow. And so that was
and that would,
a couple of days a week?
Yeah, about 3-4 days a week. And this happened for about, so it happened for about 6 months. And then I got the phone call, to train pre-season at Roosters, and then I had pre-season, and then Roosters told me to go back to Wyong, and then it happened for the rest of the year when I was at Wyong. So about 2 years.
Yeah.
And it paid off for myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's that sort of journey part that you speak around being able to do it tough and have those challenges along the way. Obviously, you don't wish that upon anyone. Obviously everyone's journey is different, but when you went into the so second time round, you went into the Roosters train-on squad or summer training squad. You're working around training with NRL players, for that whole summer. How did you sort of push yourself mentally back when they said, okay, now you've got to go back to Wyong and play there? What stopped you from going, well, hey, if I haven't been able to do what I wanted to do over the summer? Tell me about your thought process and what you went through in that period.
I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. And at that time, it was hard, at the moment, for feeling, I'm getting told, oh, you're not needed. But then, I went away with it, and then I looked at it as a blessing. I looked at it as a blessing. I got to have preseason for one of the best teams in NRL, and I got put through everything they've done, and it kind of gave confidence for myself that, man, if I can stick with these dudes, man, and this is the the number one team in NRL, then I can stick with any other team, and it kind of gave confidence in myself to, and it made me more hungry as well, after that I thought, all right then, I've been lucky, I was one of the three dudes who get to train, with the Roosters, see their culture, see why they're the best team in NRL, and I took some things on a board, and just went with it, and took it to the next stage of my footy career and where I wanted to be.
Yeah. I think it's important to also put out there that from that period on, Vaha, the ability to promote you from a management perspective, and good for those listeners out there to hear that you've done that pre-season, and then you got dropped back. Now, if you would have gone off and had a huff about it, it would have been hard to promote someone that wasn't positive on the field. And all the discussions we had from that on were very positive. So I think that's really good for people to understand that there's a process that you've taken, and it hasn't just happened overnight. You didn't just make a late debut because no one noticed you till late. It was a perseverance type thing, and so it's important to state that your form from then on in was of NRL quality. So I think that's a really good thing for the people to take on. So if we just move on to it's still within that sort of youth or pathway part where an under-20s player doesn't get picked for some reason, and there's probably some similarities into not being picked into an NRL squad as well. But just in the under-20s, I know that there's a lot of pressure from families and stuff. Tell us how it sort of went for you and that non-selection part. Did you have any challenges there?
Yeah, my first year, I came off the bench, and it was a good learning experience for myself, And then the second year, I thought, this is the breakthrough year for myself. But not realizing that, through that preseason, I didn't push myself hard enough to earn that spot. And then I got named back onto the bench, and then I was like, oh man, shucks, what's happening here? You know what I mean? I believe I bought my time, with playing on the bench, and for myself at a young age, it's you start thinking about all these things, you start thinking about pressure on life, because we're not so used to it, we're so used to being looked after at school, we get our lunch done for us, we get a roof in it, but coming out of school, coming into the 20s, it's a whole new ball game. Life hits you on the face, and you got to rent. You got to pay bills. You got to make your way up to. You find your own way to training, and it's a lot of pressure. But once you you find yourself and where you want to be in that, and when you're motivated and you're willing to kind of give up the things that's not going to help you out and footy in that, you'll go far, a long way, and always remember where you come from as well. So it's so easy. After these last couple of years, I see why everyone kind of turns away from footy and that, because they get a lot of things given to them, especially being an NRL player and that. But once you remember who you are, where you came from, and why you started this, and just stay motivated, and wake up every day, attacking everything, then it'll just make it easier for yourself.
Yeah. Now, fast forwarding now, I think the most enjoyable discussion that we've all had in the past is around your Titans journey. So, tell us about pre-season with the Titans. You went up there as a training trial or a couple of year contract to prove yourself. That pre-season ended up coming through and being named in the starting lineup for the Titans. Tell us about the pre-season and what things you did when you went up there and just that whole process.
Yeah, man, it was an unbelievable preseason. It was pretty tough. You know what I mean? It was hot. It was humid. We done an army camp. It was the first time I ever done an army camp, and it was probably one of the toughest 3 days of my life. Where we just didn't sleep. We just got tortured. We got treated treated real bad. But the thing was that I was motivated. And what kept me motivated was my family, and the journey that I had. I got injured in December. I done my hammy, and then I come back in January on the first week of preseason, and then I got injured again. So I was out for pretty much 2 months of the preseason, and then I only had 2 weeks to kind of get my body into kind of running, get my body used to running and that. And then I had my first trial against Parramatta, and at the time I was thinking, man, shucks, I haven't done much running in pre-season, I wonder how I'm going to go. But then, and then there was another thing in my head that's, man, you've waited this long, it's your first NRL trial, leave nothing on the field, it's your it's something for myself that I had to kind of believe, you've waited this long, don't leave nothing on the field. And then I went out and I thought I played reasonably well, and then I was lucky enough to get another opportunity to play the next week, and the next week was against Rabbitohs, and then I thought I played reasonably well on that trial as well. And then for me, one of the boys, he got suspended for 1 game. It was Luke Douglas. He got suspended for 1 game, and then Neil Henry came up to me. I think it was the Tuesday before they named the team, and he just said to me, "Look, I'm going to name you in the 17." It was between me and another fellow who's already played in NRL. He's played 20 NRL games, and me, and for him to choose me and believe in me, I was forever grateful. And I broke down, and I fell to my knees, and I started praying, and I thank the Lord above for not only helping me with my journey, but showing me how hard work can always take you to places in life. Because before I used to think that talent used to could get me there, but not realizing that it takes more than talent. It takes hard work, and just for Neil to name me in that 17, man, I just broke down and I started crying, and it just felt just that much sweeter, you know what I mean, playing NRL and that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's still a good feeling to hear the story, and especially for us being close to it and being part of it, mate. And it still continues. Obviously, you've had a good time at the Titans, and so it's great, mate. Just finally on that NRL journey or that part, what does it mean to you to play NRL? Like, what's your, you know, when it all come together and you went down on your knees and you were praying, what does it mean for you to have that moment where you run onto the field now as a regular NRL player?
Man, it's awesome, man. It's awesome, man. Like, you know, I can't thank, you know, my support team, you know, enough. And you know, it kind of, like every time I put on that NRL jersey and running out on the field, you know, it's so awesome to, you know, to make my, you know, family proud, you know, everyone who's followed me on my journey, you know, the Inventus family, you know, they've been with me throughout the whole way in that. And, you know, it's just something that it's like you can't explain, man. It's just that awesome feeling, you know, where you get to right now and you get to do this, you know, week in, week out, you know, and where you get to do what you love, you know, and I get to do that every day, you know, and I get to kind of, you know, play footy every week, you know, and showcase what I have to showcase, but yet, you know, I get to kind of, you know, spread the word that's been installed into me, and show and share with people my testimony that, you know, that you know, if you just put hard work into it and then just keep ticking along, that, you know, things will start to turn your way. You just and you got to believe in yourself as well. And I just wanted to kind of, you know, use my testimony to help younger fellas as well. You know, just you know, because I to be honest, I wish I had something like, you know, someone, you know, like myself to kind of say, hey man, like just believe in yourself. You know, just keep doing what you have to do. But, you know, I had to find it out the hard way. But, you know, the best thing is that I wouldn't change anything for the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't change my journey. You know, you know, I found God. You know, I found my wife, and then, you know, I've got a good support team. You know, and everything's been like unreal for myself.
Yeah, cool, mate. That's awesome. And probably just lastly, you see a lot of youth coming through the game now. You're involved in Inventus, which has obviously got a lot of youth coming through, and you've you know, said to us a lot that you want to be involved in helping those boys come through, which is great. But to the wider community, can you just sort of see what the youth are going through at the moment, and if you had a couple of things you could tell them, maybe even things you've already brought up during this chat, or some things that are additional that they must sort of think about and know coming through the system?
Yeah, no, just don't take no for an answer, man. You know, always find a way out, man. Like, you know, there'll be times where you want to give up and that, but, you know, just look for ways out of things, man. There's always ways out of things, eh? Like, you know, and never be complacent. You know, just never be complacent as well. You know, always strive to better yourself. You know, and be better than what you were yesterday. You know, if you feel that, you know, if you're a half, you know, your kicking game's not at where you want it to be, you know, take that extra 5 minutes, you know, because it all adds up, you know, 5 minutes. So imagine you training so you're training 4 days a week. If you take 5 minutes out of those 4 days a week, that's 20 minutes. And, you know, if you continuously to do that every week, you know, you're putting time into something that you know, that you're improving on, and that. So just never be complacent and never take no for an answer. And believe in yourself, as well. You know what I mean? And stay positive with everything.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. And just in around the professionalism side of the game, so there's these kids coming through that are seeing some of the things going on in the NRL at the moment. Any sort of thing that you've learned over the time? Obviously, you learn a lot of you came through a lot of challenges when you're in the 20s, but anything around that the boys could take from?
For everyone's different. For myself, it was alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol done me no favors. You know what I mean? My body needed to recover. So, you know, it's something that I've eliminated in my life. And you know, and there's times where, you know, where the boys want to go out and that, you know, you got to learn to say no as well. they'll laugh at you, or like, they'll mock you, or they'll egg you on. Oh, where's the old fella that, but that's totally up to you if you really want it. You know what I mean? You'd be man enough to say no. Like, I'm recovering. My body's it's a temple, and for me to back it up next week, I have to tick all the boxes that I've done the week before. You can't have one good game and throw everything out the window. You just got to kind of be consistent with everything, and that's something that I've learned on the way as well. So yeah, just that, eh?
Oh, awesome, mate. And I suppose lastly, just to wrap it up, we're going to do a series of podcasts and a series of supportive videos and stuff like that. So Vaha's going to join us for a lot of those, and I appreciate your time, Vaha, because I know that your days are pretty full with trying to do your job. But from all of us and here within our organisation, but more importantly, our families, there's a lot of parents out there that I know are just looking for an edge for their children, or I know they're just looking for some information to be able to. It's not something that anyone goes through ever. It's not like you go, you're a very small group that actually get through and do the whole process. So there's families out there, we've got 15, 16, 17 that are, missing rep trials or missing rep teams, and parents are putting their hands, heads in their hands and going, hey, is this for my son, is my son, or how do I deal with him? So if these sorts go a little bit towards helping them, then it's great for us, and it's great for our family here, and just appreciate it a lot.
And saying that, man, to all the parents and that, man, just keep supporting them, man. Like, you want them to enjoy the game. You know what I mean? I believe that's the reason why some of us Polynesian fellas, we fall away from it, because we feel too much pressure, and then we just can't deal with it anymore. You know what I mean? So I never really made a rep team. You know what I mean? I never until this year. This year's probably my first international Tongan team. And I'm 27. And just got to keep supporting them, and just show them love, and show them that that no matter what, you're because it plays a big part as well. Just that one negative word, it kind of like triggers them a bit, like, you know what I mean. But just keep supporting them, and just keep turning up for them. That's the one thing.
Yeah, no, cool, man. Well, like I say, appreciate your time tonight, and we look forward to having another chat with you in the coming weeks, and we'll change some of the subjects and move through and be able to add things to these things. So, thank you very much, and we appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
All right.